Hello and welcome. Today we are looking at Nosgoth, a free-to-play, highly unpopular thing when it was announced. It is a spiritual successor slash sequel to the Legend of Kain series, which was if you're not familiar with it, it was I should say, because it's not really around anymore. It was a series of single-player, like story-based third-person action games about. I haven't actually played them, but always wanted to. About vampires and stuff. Again, I've always meant to check them out. I think they're on like the PS1, they're on PC and stuff. But when this was announced a couple of years ago, I want to say, obviously it was very badly received because, as you can imagine, popular popular single-player series turned into a free-to-play game is not exactly what fans wanted, especially a multiplayer one, because this is multiplayer only, which is a really weird direction to go for. But I kind of like it. I think it's a pretty cool game. It was in beta for a long time, like a couple of years. Well, not too long, but a couple of years, I think. And it's just come out as a final release about a month ago, in January, I want to say. So it's out for good now. It's only on PC at the moment, although I wouldn't be surprised to see it come to consoles in a later date. It's kind of like a asymmetrical multiplayer thing. Think like Left 4 Dead Versus, that kind of stuff, where it's like humans versus zombies, because it is that sort of humans versus like monsters, or in this case it is vampires sort of thing, and it's interesting. I think it's pretty fun. It's obviously you have the two sides. It's like a 4v4, or at least the mode we're playing was like a 4v4 deathmatch, where obviously, as you can see at the moment, I'm playing as the monsters. I'm not entirely sure what this monster's actually called, but as you can probably tell if you've played Left 4 Dead, it is basically just the hunter from Left 4 Dead, fundamentally anyway, because it does like the leap, the pounce, whatever the hunter does. Which is pretty. It's a lot more generous in this game. Again, if you're familiar with Left 4 Dead, you'll probably remember that in the versus mode, the hunter pounce was quite. The timing was pretty tight. You had to get it pretty dead on to actually land it, but it's a lot more generous than this. There's sort of a lock on. It's a lot easier to hit a pounce anyway. But that'll basically, you saw it before. If you do land a pounce, you'll essentially incapacitate an enemy for a bit and do some damage until you either get shot off or until the thing runs out. So there are, well, as I said, it is free to play, so a lot of the stuff, a lot of the monsters, a lot of the abilities and stuff are behind a paywall. So if you download the game for free, you get this monster. Again, I can't remember what it's called. I don't think it's called Hunter. I mean, I hope not, because that would be a bit too on the nose. But then the other one is that guy on the left that you just saw, that big brute character, which I believe I get into him later for a bit, which is kind of like a tank character, really big, and he like charges people and knocks them over and stuff, and it's pretty good. Again, I only played it for a couple of hours or so. I played it with a friend, and we kind of enjoyed it. Some of the free-to-play stuff was it wasn't intrusive. Like I played it for a couple of hours and I enjoyed it on both sides. More so the monsters than the humans. You'll probably see later that I have kind of a tough time playing as the humans. We kind of get bad. I'm not sure if it's the game in this recording where we get bad, but there was a game we played where we were the humans and we got absolutely destroyed because the monsters had all of these like fancy like monsters they'd bought with money, and like I hadn't played enough of the game to say like, oh, it's imbalanced or one side's easier than the other or whatever. But the hunters, the monsters, whatever you want to call them, I guess they're actually called vampires, so I'll probably just call them that. The vampire side is at least more fun. I found it to be a lot more enjoyable playing as particularly this monster. Again, can't remember what it's called, but it was pretty fun to like pounce around and stuff, and I had a lot more success doing that. Whether that was just, obviously the people I'm playing with or what, but I found it to be a lot more enjoyable playing this than I did the Hunter, which was a bit tedious. It was a lot harder. again, I think it's just because some of the monsters that you can buy are a lot more. Their abilities are a lot crazier. They're a lot more interesting, so that they're a lot harder to deal with in a way. There's like you probably see it in this video. There's like a flying monster that like comes and swoops and picks you up and drops you from a great height. And obviously, if it's flying all over the place, it's pretty hard to shoot because you don't have any actual guns. You have like crossbows and stuff because it is like a sort of medieval fantasy setting or whatever. So it's pretty difficult to deal with the flying monsters and stuff. That seems to be the most common monster that I saw that wasn't one of the free ones. And again, I'm not going to get into balance and stuff because I don't know enough about the game. I didn't play it enough, but that seemed to be a popular one, and it was pretty difficult to deal with. But so you could see in the bottom left. I mean, there's my health. It's in a little globe. You start with 1,000. Obviously, different monsters have different amounts of HP. The tank one starts with more and stuff, and I think that'll regenerate up to a point, and then I think if you're a hunter or a monster or whatever, it doesn't regenerate anymore, and you're just stuck with that. But as a human, you'll probably see it later. You get, I believe there are some abilities that will heal you, obviously depending on the character, the class, or whatever. But there's also like pickups you can get around the map that give you ammo and health. So it's usually how you get health. And then next to the health thing, you've got the 3 abilities, and everybody has 3 abilities. Even if you're, monsters or humans, doesn't matter what you are, you all have 3 abilities. You've got the first one, right mouse button, is your primary ability, and that goes for all characters, both sides. That is your primary ability. For me, that is my pounce. For the tank thing, that is the charge. I believe for one of the humans I was playing, it's like almost like a grenade launcher or something, like a barrage of grenades or something. So that's your primary ability. It generally has pretty long cooldown. Again, it depends what it is. I seem to remember this one had 12 seconds isn't too bad, I guess, but and then you've got your Q and your F, which again they vary from character to character. I believe those are the ones that you can change. Your core ability, your right mouse button one, I don't think you can change that. I think everyone who plays that class will get that ability. But the Q and the F are the ones that you can actually buy. I think I'd take a look at the store later on, but as well as buying characters, you can also buy specific abilities, which obviously do various things, and like I said, I didn't really get into the free-to-play stuff, so I don't actually know what they actually do, but you can have a look, and there's like passive abilities and buffs you can get that you can buy, as well as the actual active abilities. So as far as I'm aware, you can swap out those abilities. Obviously, it's limited to, I'm sure there are only a certain amount of abilities for this guy, and only a certain amount of abilities for the flying guy and stuff, but for the most part, that's what you're buying, is that stuff. I believe there are some cosmetics, but I'm not sure. And obviously you're buying other classes, other races, other heroes and monsters and stuff. So I don't know. I think the free-to-play stuff is not too egregious. Like, again, you can enjoy it without spending any money for sure, which is usually a pretty good sign of a good free-to-play game, or at least good free-to-play mechanics. But I definitely had the feeling, I mean, you kind of get that subconsciously in any free-to-play game, where it's like, if you haven't paid any money and you're getting battered, the automatic response is, oh, they probably paid for that, so it's fine. But I don't know how true that is, it's hard to tell. But you can also say, one thing I should probably mention before the round switches to the humans is that you have that climb ability that you probably saw me do a number of times, which is like, all monsters have it, doesn't matter what class you are, doesn't matter what race you are. All monsters have it. It basically lets you just quickly scale any wall, any surface within reason. You can't go out of the map or anything. As I tried to do it a number of times actually, but they will not let you. So it's a pretty nice and pretty fast way to move around, especially to get the height, because you need the height with the pounce. Because like in Left 4 Dead, I believe the distance, or the height and the distance that you made the pounce from is all calculated in the damage. So if you can get a really high pounce from really far away, you'll do a fuck ton of damage. You'll do even more. And I think. Oh, I actually switched to the other guy for like 15 seconds. So you get a rough idea of what he does, but I didn't really mess around with him much. He's got the charge. He does like an earthquake and a. He seemed pretty strong. My friend was playing him. I was obviously playing the hunter. But yeah, so that's me playing as the hunters. I did enjoy that. I had a much better time playing as the hunters than playing as the humans. I should probably stop calling them same thing. So here's your loadout thing as a human. Every class has a loadout. I believe this is the same as the monsters. You have your you've got your 3 abilities, and the perk is the passive thing I was talking about, and you can switch them out. You can take one out and put another one in if you want, which is nice. But obviously you have to pay for all that. So this is me starting as the human, playing as I forget what the actual class was called, but this is the one I enjoyed the most out of the two that are free. Again, you start with 2 when you first play the game, and you buy the others. So I didn't really come across any of the purchased ones. People seem to be investing more in the monsters and stuff than the humans, which seems fair, I guess. So you've got, like I said, you've got this sort of semi-automatic crossbow type thing. It's not quite a machine gun, but it might as well be, Oh, that's the flying thing I was talking about, the one that flies. It's a nightmare. You probably see me getting destroyed by a number of times. So you got your crossbow, and you got your Q and your F. I actually thought that humans have a right mouse button, but I guess they don't. But I actually know, I guess that you've got your auto attack. Well, the monsters have auto attacks as well, so I don't know what that is. I have to be reminded what my Q and IF actually are on this, because it's been a while since actually playing it. That guy's on fire. I think. Oh, I'll say it. My Q is like a. You'll probably see it. It's like a. You throw a bowler and it like wraps around them and stuns them, which is obviously really effective. Or it doesn't stun them, but prevents them from attacking, I believe. Which is obviously very. There it is, but I missed it. Obviously very effective. And that's my F. It's like the grenade launcher thing that I originally thought was my right mouse button thing. So pretty effective combination. Stun them and blow them to bits, but. Also, yeah, like the respawn time on the humans is way longer than it is on the monsters. Like, I'm not even sure if there is one on the monsters, but you get like a 7-second respawn time, which is a bit annoying. So obviously you got a roll and you got a sprint. You obviously you don't have as much mobility as the monsters because you can't climb and you can't fly like the other guys, like the flying ones. But you can get around. It's easy enough to escape. The other free class has like a flashbang type thing that can disorientate enemies, so that's obviously handy for getting away. So yeah, that's me getting picked up. That's fucked. So that was a very good one, but if they get to a good height and drop you, it pretty much kills you and stuff. So that's the short past the health station or whatever. So, you can probably see what I was talking about with the monsters being certainly more interesting, but also just more fun to sort of play. Like, I feel like you can play, like, I was just playing with my friend. Me and my friend were playing on the same team, and we just sort of played on our own with the monsters. There wasn't really much coordination, and we sort of did fine. People just sort of played together, and it's fine. But I feel like with the humans, it's a bit like kind of the whole Evolve situation, although obviously not as much, because that is all about teamwork, but they sort of emphasise and require teamwork a lot more than the monsters do to sort of coordinate a good attack, or I guess most of the time you are coordinating a good defence, because it's mostly the monsters on the offence. You have to kind of coordinate a good defence and sort of huddle in a corner sort of thing and make a tight corner, which can be a lot harder than just going balls out with the monsters. And like, maybe it's just me, and maybe it was just the the teams and the monsters that the enemies had and stuff, but I just felt like I was doing way worse as the monsters, as the humans, I mean, sorry. It didn't feel anywhere near as fun. It was just like kind of frustrating. See, that's a good way to deal with those flying ones, is to get a bowler on them, but it's pretty difficult to hit them because it prevents them from flying, which is really handy. But so, like, you can see we're kind of just getting dominated. You can see the score at the top is like 17-11, 17 going to them. It's first to 30. I wonder if this one's going to be a good one. Yeah, fuck yeah. I was pretty low health there, but still. Yeah, that fly one seems to be the most popular for sure. I didn't really see anyone else besides the flying one and the two free ones. I don't know exactly how many classes there are. I don't know how many humans there are. I don't know how many monsters there are. But those were the only three that I saw. And as far as I'm aware, I only saw 2 humans, and they were the free ones. Again, it's a bit hard to tell with the humans because they don't really look that much more different. So okay, so I switched to the other free class here, which is, I think, the Alchemist. It was called. So my friend was playing that more than me. I quite enjoyed it. It was interesting, but I found it hard to actually get kills with it. So you got your Q and your FE. Your Q is the flashbang I was talking about. I'm sure they don't call it that, but temporarily stun them or whatever. And then the F drops like a big wall of flame, which is really handy if you're being swarmed or whatever, but it does damage you as well, so you have to kind of be careful with that. But I don't know. This was an interesting class, but I just didn't find much luck with it. Certainly didn't find any success with it. I don't know what that is. Sort of visual bug. But yeah, I don't know. I hesitate to call it pay to win because that term gets thrown out all the time, and I swear people just use that too. Oh, there's the firewall. People just use that on any free-to-play game without any context, but it felt a little bit pay to win, in a sense. Obviously, it has the whole free-to-play concept of like earn a currency in game, but there's also one you can buy, and you can buy stuff with the in-game currency, but hey, it's about 10 times more expensive and takes years to grind, which was always the argument in favour of League when people say that it's got a good business model or whatever, or that the free-to-play stuff isn't intrusive. As somebody who plays Dota, it's like, yeah, alright, you can buy you can buy any hero in the game with whatever the currency is that you can actually earn, or whatever it is. But it takes fucking weeks to... Obviously, it depends how much you play, but it takes weeks to fucking earn it, or at least days. Whereas, hey, what if I just slip 10 quid in here, So... I don't mind that stuff. Obviously, you get games that are just really dumb. They're obviously free to play, pay to win, but they're usually the really dumb stuff. And I don't really think this is pay to win. Maybe not in the same way. Maybe partially. But again, you could probably call any free to play game that lets you buy something that isn't just cosmetics technically pay to win, at least in a sense. Some more than others, but so I was a bit conflicted with this game. I enjoyed it at first. Like, it looks quite... I think it looks quite nice. It runs really well and it plays really well. Like, it feels really good, but without getting into too much of the free-to-play stuff, and again, with the humans and stuff, without having a proper team to play with, I can't really imagine it having much longevity. Like, I played it for a couple of hours and I can't really imagine going back to it. Or certainly not for any long period of time. I might go back for a game or two, but yeah, makes a good first impression, but I don't think it really lasts. So we end the game now. I think we actually lost, just purely because of how bad we did as the humans, probably. But I think we hop out into the menu now, and I'll probably take a look at some of the store stuff, some of the free to play stuff. Again, this is pre-recorded, so I don't actually remember exactly what I did. So there's your currencies in the top right. The gold is the one you get in game, and obviously the blue is the ones you buy. And they do the classic stuff where they give you a ton up front, but it's really not worth much because it's pretty expensive. A lot of the stuff that you can buy. So yeah, we look at the armory stuff. Like, you know, you've got your different weapons, and obviously you can buy various stuff. Like you can buy the XP boosters or different weapons, and there's the abilities I was looking at. These are the ones that I've got. The standard stuff that comes when you first open the game. There's the two classes on each side that was showing you, and there's the stuff you buy. You know, there's a lot of these. Some of them are cosmetic, but most of them are like Deadeye. If actually, I don't know if I have a word for that, but that is like, I think that's passive that increases your like, accuracy or something. Or that's one of the passive ones that I was talking about. That's one of the perks. So you get stuff like Light Bomb, or these are two Alchemist thing, which was the second class that I played. So you can just like mix and match some of the abilities, and if there's one that you prefer, and that's obviously that's the weapon does more damage than the standard one. So you can maybe make the argument that it's slightly pay to win, but I and there's the currency stuff. 48 quid for 20,000 runestones, which that's not that bad. That seems to get you quite a lot, especially considering a lot of this stuff costs like 75. So, but yeah, you see some of this passive stuff is it's pretty. Obviously, it's beneficial, but it's pretty minor. It's not too game changing. Then a lot of these are like cosmetic stuff, and you get boosters, and it's fairly standard free to play stuff, to be honest. But yeah, that's Nosgoth. That's on PC now. Wouldn't be surprised if it did come to consoles, like I said. It's on Steam, free to play. Check it out. It's pretty interesting.